Tag. Since 1983, 5 best friends have been playing a game of tag. Despite going their separate ways, they gather every year during the month of May to tag each other. Hogie Malloy, Ed Helms, is applying for a janitor job at the company, where his buddy Bob Callahan, John Hamm, is the CEO. Callahan enters an interview with a Wall Street Journal journalist named Rebecca Crosby, Annabelle Wallis, and Hogie enters in his disguise. When Callahan realizes what's up, he tries to break out of his office, only for the chair he throws to bounce off the glass and hit him in the face. He's now it as Hogie tags him. Hogie tells Callahan that their friend Jeremy Renner, who has never once been tagged, is planning to retire as he is about to get married. Despite always thinking they can get him, Jerry has always been too fast for them and has always come up with insane ways to avoid them, but they plan to get him this year. Rebecca joins them because she finds this to be a fascinating story. In Colorado, Randy Chili Soliano, Jake Johnson, is getting high with his dad, Brian Dennehy, when he is visited by Hogie's wife Anna, Isla Fisher. He knows what's up and he tries to escape, only for Hogie to chase him through the whole building. Chili thinks he's gotten away until Callahan tags him. They tell Chili about their plan to get Jerry, and he joins them as they go get their other friend, Kevin Sable, Hannibal Buress. Sable is in a therapy session in Portland when the other guys try to corner him and tag him. They tell him about the plan and recruit him to join in the shenanigans. The gang flies home to Washington to Hogie's childhood home, where they devise a plan to get Jerry. They go to a bar, where they speak to an old classmate named Lou, Steve Berg, who has always wanted to join the game, but the guys never let him play. They ask Lou where Jerry might be, and he mentions the country club, where his wedding will be held. The gang heads to the country club as Anna makes a fake phone call to Jerry and his fiancée Susan Rollins, Leslie Bibb, saying that their slot has been moved, forcing them to head over and confront the issue. The guys then hide and get ready as Jerry shows up. However, Jerry knows what's up, and he anticipates everyone's move. As Callahan is it, he runs to tag Jerry, but Jerry grabs a sheet and whips it around Callahan, causing him to slap Hogie and make him it. Sable tries to stop him, but Jerry pulls Sable's pants down and then starts punching Hogie in the ass. Jerry leaps out a window from the second floor and escapes. He then introduces everyone to Susan as the guys express disappointment over not being invited to the wedding since Jerry figured they would try to tag him with his guard down. The guys then decide to make an amendment to agree to not play the game at any wedding-related events. The guys then break into Jerry's house later to try and get him. They find a bunch of crazy stuff like aerial maps of the city and chloroform that Jerry uses just in case. He knew they were coming, so he makes a Skype call to them from what appears to be Hogie's basement. Jerry threatens to jack off on Hogie's beloved teddy bear, so they rush back to Hogie's house, only to find that Jerry is not there, despite still being in the call. It turns out he just made a replica of Hogie's basement and filmed himself to screw with them. The next day, Hogie attempts to tag Jerry at the mall, since he is getting his tuxedo. Hogie is disguised as an old lady, but Jerry quickly knows what's up, and he gets Hogie on the floor before he can make a move. The gang attends a rehearsal party where they learn that Susan is pregnant. They are then surprised to see that Jerry invited an old classmate, Cheryl Deakins, Rashida Jones. Sable explains to Rebecca that Chili and Callahan always had a thing for Cheryl, and she would hook up with both guys at some point. He figures that Jerry invited her to cause a rift between them. Chili goes to approach Cheryl and talk to her first, learning that her husband has passed away, which he shows too much excitement for. Cheryl goes to the bathroom where Callahan finds her and invites her to have a drink. As the guys try to get Jerry, Callahan is nowhere to be found, leaving an exit wide open. Jerry runs off and gets a golf cart, leading Hogie, Chili, and Sable to chase him down into the woods where they crash. When they wake up, the guys see what looks like multiple Jerrys running around the woods. As they go after him, they see that Jerry has set traps. Chili gets knocked over by a swinging log, while Hogie gets trapped in a net. He tags Sable so that he can go after Jerry, but he runs into someone that Jerry hired to dress like him. Sable gets trapped against a tree and Jerry chloroforms him. The gang then heads back to the bar to figure out what to do next. Chili stays there, claiming his leg hurts, but he has just made an excuse to see Cheryl. The rest of the group goes to the gym where Jerry trains, and they speak to his employee Dave, Thomas Middleditch. Callahan tries to bribe him to find out where Jerry is, but Dave thinks they are trying to proposition him for sex. The group threatens to waterboard him and even go as far as to tie him up, but they realize it's too far. After bribing him enough, Dave reveals that Jerry goes to a church for Alcoholics Anonymous meetings. They return to the bar and see Chili with Cheryl, leading him and Callahan to get into it. The guys pose as AA members, with Chili attempting to strike first. Jerry throws hot coffee in Chili's face and runs for a window as the guys chase him. He sees that the whole outside is rigged with mousetraps, so he runs and hides in the room where they keep communion wine. He stays there for hours as the guys wait from him until Susan comes by, with hours before the wedding. She then starts to act like she is having pregnancy pains, and Jerry comes out to help. Chili thinks they are making it up, but it looks serious, and Jerry tells the guys he's not playing around. The gang receives texts that the wedding is postponed due to the potential miscarriage. However, Anna sees that the bridesmaids all made Instagram posts at the same time acting sad they can't wear their dresses, so she makes a fake profile for Callahan since one of them likes him, and that bridesmaid posted a picture of Susan in her dress, meaning the wedding is still on. Everyone is pissed that Jerry and Susan would try to fake a miscarriage just so Jerry won't get tagged, and Hoagie has a major freakout in his basement. They all decide to crash the wedding and put an end to this. The gang arrives at the wedding, where Susan confirms she faked everything, including being pregnant. During the reception, Hoagie tries to catch an opening after the kiss when they release doves in the air. He fails miserably and ends up tackling the pastor to the ground. Hoagie then loses consciousness, which Jerry thinks is a gag, but Anna confirms it's serious and calls for an ambulance. Everyone meets up at the hospital, including Cheryl. Callahan drops his feud with Chili and encourages him to go after her. Meanwhile, Hoagie tells everyone, including Jerry, the truth. He lied about Jerry quitting after the season and only got everyone together because he recently found out he has a tumor on his liver and he might not be around for the following year. Jerry decides to swallow his pride and let Hoagie tag him for good. They then start running around the hospital playing, even changing their rules so Anna and Rebecca can play. They all run through the building like they used to as kids. Before the credits roll, we see the real group of guys that inspired the film who actually did go through elaborate schemes to tag each other, like going in disguise and chasing each other through golf carts. There are 10 of them, and they are still playing to this day. The film is inspired by a real story of a group of friends and a game of tag. 5 childhood friends have been playing an intense game of tag for over 30 years, but their undefeated champion, Jerry, is supposedly planning to retire after he gets married, so his buddies team up to finally tag him. However, Jerry is always prepared for all their moves, making it impossible to catch him. After trying to get Jerry at his wedding, Hoagie tells everyone that he only got everyone together because he recently found out he has a tumor on his liver and might not be around the following year. Jerry lets himself get tagged, and the friends run around the hospital playing with each other like when they were kids.